Mhm. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on what time zone you're in or what time you're watching this video. And today we're back with Token with his new release, "I'm Your Baby." Token is an artist with extreme lyrical depth and empathy, and so I'm very excited to kind of jump right into this. I hope that you are as well. Love you all. Let's jump right in, shall we? Let's go.
Internet trolls raised me, ads raised me, Nickelodeon raised me, Dan raised me, super bad American pie, Hollywood signs, triple X search raised me, I'm your baby. Mom left my dad and never talked to a man again, just to paint a picture how the marriage went. And that's just what I thought what every marriage was. I still would call it love, but I never saw him touch, and I knew it wasn't sex, I only seen them kiss once. But married for 20 plus. When I was young, if there was nudity in movies, mama put some anger to it. Little did she know that I wasn't a stranger to it. Internet trolls raised me, ads raised me,
wow.
Nickelodeon raised me, Dan raised me, super bad American pie, Hollywood signs, triple X search raised me, I'm your baby. I was infatuated with sex when I was 6. Mom blamed it on the music, so CDs were edited. But it wasn't the CDs, the privacy intrigued me. You look when they say don't look. So I was 8 scribbling pictures of a naked body till the teacher found my notebook. She had to make sure my home's good, so I was put in therapy. Imagine a therapist studying an 8-year-old's rendition of naked breasts. I was always questioned, especially cause I only grew up with women present. My therapist put down his pad during one session and asked if I ever thought about my mom and my sister naked. I don't remember what I said, I just remember the feeling of realizing
Bro, that would
my
be
sister
so
were
heavy.
breasted. I broke out crying, I couldn't stop and I didn't know why. It's
Yeah.
funny which memories stick with you. I was 9. Keep going. When I was 12, I started hanging with older kids. They would tell me things and they would show me things. Teachers always said I had an old soul. Must have been just my soul, cause my brain didn't know a thing. A mutual friend led me to this older kid's house. We were in his basement, 2 other older kids round. When my homie left, I should've left, but I stayed there. Didn't know these kids well, but I felt safe there.
Oh no.
Shouldn't have felt safe there. Dirty conversations about the girls in their grade where people lost virginities. Me, I ain't even kissed yet. I didn't even think about getting my wet. That night I was talked into doing things I ain't wanna do. A lot of I don't knows, a lot of come on dude, a lot of no one's even gonna know, a lot of closing eyes, a lot of long showers and no appetites. Internet trolls raised me, ads raised me, Nickelodeon raised me, Dan raised me, super bad American pie, Hollywood signs,
God
triple
damn.
X search raised me, I'm your baby. I just started dropping music at the time, writing love songs about a girl I'd hope to find. Playing Wayne tapes, knowing I could never say the first body to touch my body looked just like mine. Funny which memories end up sticking with you, cause I forgot it even happened till I turned 22. Then it all came back and it felt brand new. Wondering if it plays a role in relationships I pursue, or is it just a distant memory that never left a mark? One night my homie had some questions at the bar. He said, why do all of your girls look fresh out of a magazine? I said, it's just my type. He said, I feel you, but I mean, what if the perfect girl for you is normal looking? Would you do something? I said, what? He said, it just feels like you're trying to prove something. And you know that everyone knows you well, so maybe you still trying to prove something to yourself. What are you still trying to prove?
Oh.
Internet trolls raised me, ads raised me, Nickelodeon raised me, Dan raised me, super bad American pie, Hollywood signs, triple X search raised me, I'm your baby.
Bro. My God. Jesus. That was the level of vulnerability it takes to make a song like this cannot be understated. Truly it cannot. Um there's so much. To begin, I want to start by saying that I think that a lot of kind of what we saw here is the way that society has almost demonized sex, and then it's led to like so much prejudice and stereotyping in terms of love and sexuality, um in the sense that like one is so taboo sometimes to talk about these kinds of topics, especially within a family, especially within like the North American culture. um and it almost makes it difficult to learn. And so that's just one side of this, but the other, and I think the more important side is understanding of self. And I think that like what Token just did is so brave, and it's beautiful that he had the courage to do that. It's sad that brave is kind of the word that has to be used to describe a situation like this, because sharing parts of yourself, especially like for those who are not necessarily fitting the binary, right? Like the normative heterosexual idea, because that's just a social construct that exists, and so many people feel pressured and feel vilified when they think about themselves and not fitting that standard. And it's so sad that that is the case, because truly whoever you are, wherever you are, as long as you're not hurting anybody, god damn, you live that happy life however you want to live it. Love who you want to love, spend time with who you want to spend time with, be who you want to be, because you deserve happiness in every way, shape, and form. And for many people, that's not always easy to achieve because they're, like I said, vilified for their preferences. And that's horrible, truly. And I think what Token did here is so brilliant because it addresses so many things. I'm going to go back and I want to listen to it all again because it really is awesome. But when you think about how this starts off, it's what we were saying earlier in terms of like cultural context and cultural limitations of what should be spoken about, and the taboos of like talking about sexuality that leads often to the opposite of what people are attempting to make happen with that. Like when you, the more that you try not to talk about it, the more that it ends up being something that someone wants to learn more about. Because yeah, especially when you're young, the idea of the taboo is so mystical, it's so inviting, and it's almost like intriguing. And then of course, if you're told not to talk about something, you're going to find other ways to figure that out. And that led to a situation that may not have been the healthiest in that moment, because he ended up essentially like exploring it in other avenues that maybe he didn't necessarily want to at the time, right? And especially like when we end up in the basement, he's kind of like almost like convinced and coaxed into doing something. You can see how that would, how that could happen, how that could precipitate. And then later to feel almost like you can't even talk about that part of yourself, like that experience that you had makes you an outcast. It's so sad that that's the case. And then on top of that, it's like the vulnerability of having had something like that happen to you. But then think about, and I think this is really important, because like when we think about Token here, Token is showing us his soul, his experience, his lived experience, and it's something to almost like shine a light and provide a talking point for those who maybe have gone through the same experiences, or those who are currently suffering those same experiences. And a lot of it shouldn't be even considered suffering. Like it's only suffering because of social stigma, and that's so sad. But that's the power that songs like this have, and the music that Token is getting out there have, because it creates a stage for social discussion and discourse that may not have been out there for others who are trying to decipher their own experiences, their own self even. And that's just so powerful. Man, I wasn't like, especially when the chorus happens at the start, I'm like, oh, this is all stuff like I'm super familiar, like Nickelodeon. I grew up with all that. And then it's like as you see, it starts to get kind of get further and further, and it's like he's telling us out the gate, like it starts off almost childish innocence of the stuff that you're interested in. It starts to grow and grow, especially in the context of being told that you're not allowed to look at or talk about these kinds of things. Man, wow. Okay, let's go back because this is phenomenal. I love that. Another side of this too is like we start off in the basement, right? Because we're exploring the depths of his mind, but beyond that, it's also where this happened, right? And think about what this whole thing is structured at. He says go deeper a couple times, and it's like this is his therapy sessions that we're seeing brought to life. This is truly expression of self in the most vulnerable of senses, and I like it's just so amazing that he took that leap, and I'm so I consider myself lucky to be able to listen to music like this and to be able to experience this, because this doesn't always happen. And just I love that we start off with this shot, because this is where we're leading to, and this is what's led to the rest of the video. But it starts off here because this is where we have to explore first, because this is where it kind of the true almost like source of some of his trepidation in the future spawns from. Oh, so good. And even the music, man, like it sounds almost chill, but then it's got that undertone of sadness. It's got that undertone of weight to it, because that's what this is. This is a very heavy feeling he's trying to explore and trying to express and trying to move through and understand, and this is how he does it. It's through his music.
Internet trolls raise me.
Damn, even the slow and close sign, because it's like you gotta take it slow as you move through this, but like part of your mind has been closed off for so long. Dude, shoot. Okay, that is so good.
Internet trolls raise me, ads raise me, Nickelodeon raise me, Dan raise me, super bad American pie, Hollywood signs, triple X search raise me, I'm your baby. Mom left my dad and never talked to a man again, just to paint a picture how the marriage went. And that's just what I thought what every marriage was. I still would call it love, but I never saw them touch, and I knew it wasn't sex, I only seen them kiss once. But married for 20 plus, when I was young, if there was nudity in movies, mama put some anger to it. Little did she know that I wasn't a stranger to it. Internet trolls.
Like that's and it's so hard, because like it's almost like a lot of this spawned from not being able to discuss, and you hear it here. It's like he was exposed to it the whole time. It's not like this is new to him, and this is how it is in the age of information technology. This is how it is. This is not new. Everyone has the availability to look and see basically anything on the internet. And of course, as a young child where he's never really had the chance to talk about this with his parents, a lot of it seems taboo. A lot of it seems like something that you just don't bring up, at least from his mom's perspective. And you are going to inevitably want to search and discover what is this hidden thing that people are so interested in hiding from me, right? And it's not even really like the mom's fault either. This is the culture that she was raised in. This is precipitous of the social norms that we see in the current day and age. And like, obviously you don't need to talk about everything with your child necessarily, but you do need to inform them so that there is an understanding of what they will want to explore on their own when they are ready. If you don't, then they might not be ready when the time comes, and that's even worse. And that's what Token's trying to almost like emphasize here, is that discrepancy between what the goal is versus what's actually happening as a result of the manner of approaching that goal.
Raise me, ads raise me, Nickelodeon raise me, Dan raise me, super bad American pie, Hollywood signs, triple X search raise me, I'm your baby.
And I love that like a lot of these shots are like he's alone, right? Even when there's someone else in the frame, he's in the distance because he's felt so alone and so isolated. And this is like his flashback. This is his memories, right? So this is how he felt growing up. And you feel that distance and that weight of that distance on him. Even here, like you can see him like contemplating. This is like when he's supposed to be having fun and he's got a basketball in hand, but what he does is he sits down and he thinks. That tells you a lot about what's happening in his mind, right? Even the shot here and here, like it's almost like he's like watching behind him to make sure no one's seeing him explore these things, and like he is going to find out inevitably. It's inevitable. Yeah.
Hollywood sounds triple X search raise me, I'm your baby. I was infatuated with sex when I was 6. Mom blamed it on the music, so CDs were edited. But it wasn't the CDs, the privacy intrigued me. You look when they say don't look. So I was 8 scribbling pictures of a naked body till the teacher found my notebook. She had to make sure my home's good, so I was put in therapy. Imagine a therapist studying an 8-year-old's rendition of naked breasts. I was always questioned, especially cause I only grew up with women present. My therapist put down his pad during one session and asked if I ever thought about my mom and my sister naked. I don't remember what I said, I just remember the feeling of realizing my mom and sister were big breasted. I broke out crying, I couldn't stop and I didn't know why. It's funny which memories stick with you. I was 9. Keep going. When I was
Which memories stick with you? I was 9, and you can hear him as he's discussing this. Like it's almost like we're speeding up the rap a little bit because it is that frustration and almost like fear as you approach this topic that you've been avoiding for so long. And that's just it, isn't it? As we go and listen to this part, he's talking about the fact that like it was almost like all repressed, right? Like all of these sexual thoughts and intrigue, it was repressed because he felt like he was probably doing something wrong to some extent either. But then it comes out in other ways, like through his artwork. And then that ends up with him seeing a therapist, right? And then almost again being vilified for having these thoughts, which like honestly, it's an 8-year-old. Maybe it's a little early, but not really, because it's a thought that he has been told not to pursue. And again, when you're told not to pursue something, that is essentially where you go first. And then to be asked that question about his family, right? Like the people that are closest to him. He grew up around women. Obviously, he wants to know about them because they're different from his body. And yet anytime that he seems to express interest, it's this like, don't do it. This is not what you're supposed to be thinking about. And it's like, well, then of course he starts to try to explore on his own. And then he gets vilified for that, even though it's not like the therapist is trying to vilify him, but that's what it feels like when you're a kid sitting in that chair, because like, what did I do wrong? I didn't mean to do anything wrong. I'm just trying to figure out my own thoughts. And yet being there in and of itself makes you feel like you are doing something wrong, like you're the perpetrator of some kind of heinous crime. And that's what he feels like sitting there on top of the weight of trying to understand himself, on top of the weight of trying to pursue what all this taboo information is. And it's like just the weight of that is heavy. It's the weight of the start of the song, that sound, that the music that we hear. It's that weight that's like crushing him down and like making him feel isolated. And making him feel like a fiend when he shouldn't. And that's what we're hearing through this song. My God, man.
12, I started hanging with older kids. They would tell me things and they would show me things. Teachers always said I had an old soul. Must have been just my soul, cause my brain didn't know a thing. A mutual friend
must have been my soul because my brain didn't know it then. And it's like he's almost like saying like I could feel something was wrong, but wasn't 100% sure. But I felt like maybe that's where I belong, because that's like I got an old soul. And when you think about old soul, it's usually people who think are mature, right? People who are like wizened beyond their age, but he didn't feel like that in that moment. And he says that. That's what he's saying. He's like, my soul was old, but my brain didn't feel that way, because he's still developing as a person. And you're putting this weight on him almost by like saying like, yeah, you're this old soul. This is what you're supposed to be. And it's almost like that in and of itself also adds a weight.
Just my soul, cause my brain didn't know a thing. A mutual friend led me to this older kid's house. We were in his basement, 2 other older kids round. When my homie left, I should have left, but I stayed there. Didn't know these kids well, but I felt safe there.
Even that, like, he didn't know them, but he stayed, right? And that's partly because he wasn't, he wanted to, he was told he was an old soul. And again, I don't think like that's like something that's necessarily should be held against a person that said it to them, but told you're an old soul, you feel like I should spend my time around people then that are older, right? And you feel safe here. So it's like, yeah, because you've been identified as being part of this group almost in that sense. And it's like, yeah, now you feel comfortable being around these people. But when your friend left, your actual pillar of safety is gone, but you misconstrued the situation because you're a kid. You're like, yeah, they'll protect me, they'll take care of me, my friend vouched for them, why wouldn't they? And you don't necessarily consider what could happen as a result. You almost feel like they're your friends, and so of course you trust them, you feel that safety, even though the person that you did know is actually no longer even in that room.
Shouldn't have felt safe there. Dirty conversations about the girls in their grade where
even feeling safe there, like think about what that means about other places that he's in that time. It's like he doesn't necessarily feel safe in other places, so he found that safety here, even though they're having these like explicit conversations. And that's just like, he said they're older too, so they're probably going well beyond any discussions he's had about people in his classes, and that in and of itself makes him even feel more um like almost like weighted down.
Shouldn't have felt safe there. Dirty conversations about the girls in their grade where people lost virginities. Me, I ain't even kissed yet. I didn't even think about getting my wet. That night I was talking.
Even that, I think that might be my one of my favorite things in this whole video, but like that choice to bleep, like not bleep it out, but to mute it as he says thick wet. That's him choosing to almost extend that feeling of like it was so taboo. Even now I have trouble saying it, right? Even now my brain doesn't want to say it. It's not comfortable saying it because one is it's something that ultimately in that moment led him to this outcome, and then two, it's so now ingrained not to have these discussions that he won't even say something along those lines. And it's really the way of saying that that's a more like mature and like R-rated way of saying having sex. And so he doesn't even really want to talk about sex. He's not going to have conversations that also use super explicit language because that's still stuck with him. And I love that choice to mute that and like censor it. That's so brilliant.
Even think about getting my wet. That night I was talking to doing things I ain't want to do. A lot of I don't knows, a lot of come on dude, a lot of no one's even gonna know, a lot of closing eyes, a lot of long showers and no appetites. Internet trolls raise me.
And like, and then it leads to this culmination of this moment where there's a child who, because of the social stigmas that exist in conversation, is coddled and almost coerced into doing things that they don't want to do and go well beyond what they should have to have done to them. Like it, and it's so frustrating because it's like this is a very preventable circumstance, but then when he experiences it, it internalizes as a moment that he cannot even talk about because the people that you need to tell that to, the people you need to say, this is what happened to me, you can't because you've been told not to talk about it. And so of course you have to live with that on your own and deal with the outcomes and the repercussions of those moments and all on your own as a child. And of course, what could that lead to? It could lead to more of that happening as you become more and more accustomed, more convinced that that's just okay when it's not okay.
Ads raised me, Nickelodeon raised me, Dan raised me, super bad American Pie, Hollywood Sounds, Triple X search raised me, I'm your baby.
Even that, like holding yourself because it's like you want to tell someone, but the only person you can talk to about this is yourself. And you're not ready to have that discussion. How could you be? How could anybody be? So you literally hold yourself in isolation as you're in the shower, cold and alone. And it's heartbreaking. And of course, this is what we're trying to now discover and learn and explore internally as Token through the music, through the therapy sessions. And finally now it starts to come to light what could have happened.
I just started dropping music at the time, writing love songs about a girl I'd hope to find, playing Wayne tapes, knowing I could never say the first body to touch my body looked just like mine. It's funny which memories end up sticking with you, cause I forgot it even happened till I turned 22. Then it all came back and it felt brand new, wondering if it plays a role in relationships I pursue, or is it just a distant memory that never left a mark. One night my homie had some questions at the bar. He said, why do all of your girls look fresh out of a magazine? I said, it's just my type. He said, I feel you, but I mean, what if the perfect girl for you was normal looking? Would you do something? I said, what? He said, it just feels like you're trying to prove something. And you know that everyone knows you well, so maybe you still trying to prove something to yourself. What are you still trying to prove?
That's, yeah. Like, it really is. It's almost like he's trying to convince himself, right? And like think about like why he feels like he has to convince himself. He mentions it through that verse there, but basically it's like he can't even talk about this necessarily in his raps. And think about think about that. Think about how much he has to have grown in terms of self identity as well, in order to actually include that now in this rap that is so vulnerable. He doesn't lead with what happened, but he does get there, and it's teaching us, as the listener, how to grow, how to understand the self, because like these are memories that he literally repressed until he was 22. And at that point, that's when they started flooding back, because that's how traumatic it was. That's how hard it was for him to uncover that. And as he did, he started to learn more about himself, but he didn't shy away from it. He didn't run from those problems. He decided to address and discover, and then provide it to us in such a beautiful art form of self discovery and understanding in some of the most tragic moments of his life, just so that others can glean something from it, so they can learn from it, so we can understand more about ourselves, about society, about expectations, about the boxes that we put people in. And this is, I think, the most powerful thing here is like Token is giving us an opportunity to have these discussions and to consider what needs to change and needs to progress from a social element, but then also at the same time helping himself move past it, and not even necessarily move past it, but to understand it, and then utilize that understanding to create a better version of himself, where he starts to realize what, maybe like, just in terms of like what he needs to do to move forward. And I love that it's like this friend that kind of helps him understand that it's like, yeah, like, what are you trying to prove, and who are you trying to prove it to? Because we know you, we love you. That means so much, because it's like, dude, you don't need to prove anything to us. We don't care who you love. We that's not for us to decide. But you are locking yourself down by trying to prove something to yourself, and you put yourself into this corner where you have no choice, but you do have choice. And that's the friend trying to kind of help him there understand that, like, it's not about proving anything to anyone, it's about love. No matter what form that it's in, no matter who it's with, it's about love. And that's the state that both of them are actually trying to help Token achieve. Man, wow, this was amazing. I think like art and music like this, and vulnerability, and and just like the pursuit of a better future, are so important. And I think that Token did such an amazing job, because, and for so many reasons. One is like, to let us into this place in your heart and in your mind. I cannot overstate the difficulty of that. I know I said that before, but I want to repeat that. Like, it takes so much power, courage, bravery to do something like this. Not, and remember, many people will do this in therapy, where it's a closed room and no one else knows. This is on a track that you're sharing with the world. And I love that so much, because that's what inspires hope. And I think art like this is truly that. It's inspirational. It creates change. It creates self reflection. It creates moments of conversation. And that's exactly what needs to happen, to make sure that moments of that kind of trauma don't happen. Man, wow. Wow. And this is just part one. Like, I genuinely cannot wait for more. And I'm just so impressed, because this is true art, and this is true music and true love. And I love that so much. So big thanks to Token for being able to share this with us, and for giving us the hope and inspiration for a future that's maybe a little bit brighter. Wow. Big love. I hope that your week is better than your day, your month is better than your week, your year is better than your month. Please remember, you are never alone. You have, if you you never feel like you can't have a conversation, because conversation is so important. Conversation is how we move through life and share our feelings and share our emotions and share our burdens. And never feel like you can't talk to someone. I said it before. If there's no one in your life that you feel like you can talk to, you can always talk here, and we're more than happy to support you, because that's what this is all about. No matter who you love, no matter where you are, no matter what you do, everything. Just like, remember to love each other and support each other. I will see you all on the next one. Love you all.